Melchizedek. About to get my base pill.
Where is it?
It's plugged up somewhere. Just real plugged up in the back room. Okay. Hey, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Israel Ohad and CG44. How you doing? I want to share something with you all. I want to share something with you all. And you might not think on the surface that this is not a spiritual topic. But I want to let you know at the outset that this is a very spiritual topic that I'm talking about. Because evil is something very real and very spiritual. Okay. And this is something I've been following for quite a number of months. And this was just posted by Antonio Moore's called Tone Talks. You can find him on YouTube, Tone Talks. And this guy is really bringing up some very poignant information Israelites, especially black people, have no clue about. As a matter of fact, if you try to present this to most of our people who know they're Israelite, they're going to say, well, that's not spiritual. Mind you, the people that usually say that are the least spiritual. They don't even know what spirituality is, but they real quick to tell you what is spiritual and what is not spiritual. So as a public service, what I'm doing is I want my people who are Israelites to understand these things. Now, I must say at the outset that Antonio Moore, his worldview is totally different from my worldview. It's totally different from the biblical worldview. However, there are some facts that, if properly synthesized, we can gain a really deep and profound spiritual lesson about this captivity that we are in as Israelites. And we would be more sympathetic and empathetic to the plight of other people who are black and don't know that they are really Israelites. But they are running after the American dream. Oh, okay, good. Good, CG. I'm glad you got a chance to check that out. I would love to talk to you about that video I shared with you. And another thing I failed to mention to you, CG, the last time that we talked. The videos that you are impressed by, share those videos. Share them on your Facebook, your Twitter, your whatever. You know, share those videos on your social networking. You see, share those things. Let those things be a blessing to other people whose minds would otherwise slumber. And so what I'm doing to right now is that I'm about good. Thank you. Thank you in advance. What I'm about to do is I'm going to share. A lot of people call this stealing. Uh, a lot of people call this stealing when you share information that other people posted on YouTube and forum, by the way. You share the information. They say, oh, you stole it. No, it's called sharing. It's called sharing. I even got the name, the guy, the original author of this who posted it in the actual title. So I'm not stealing. It's called sharing. We share videos all the time. We share videos all the time. Why is sharing now stealing? You see? So without further ado, we're going to get right into this thing and let it do what it do. Stealing. Okay. The one where you beg recruiters to see you, despite no affirmative action programs to force them to see you. And, you know, I think what we start to forget is what created our boomer class. Our boomer class, I commend you guys so much. You guys worked through so many things. But what I will say to you, oops, messed up. Now, this is some information that our people really need to have a handle on. And not for the same reasons that he understands.
Sent this email out and we got double the calls this week.
Double? That's a lot of work.
Yeah, the guys are going to have to work the weekend.
I would just say to you is that, in my view, a ball was dropped. We became apolitical.
When kids drink soda pop, they're getting a lot more than they bargained for. But the soda tax can help, reducing childhood obesity.
In C-section, for all those that don't know, C-section gets on last. I sent him the ticket. I said, give me a C-section ticket. He said, no, you're going to fly A today. Now, what's interesting is that on my leg here, I get up and I go to my... This is a good story. I want you to hear the whole thing of this. And privileges and wealth to plug a UCLA education into. Without government opening those opportunities up, those opportunities get hoarded and disseminated based on color. And that is what we see right now. And it's funny because I was telling Dr. Cobb, just coming here today, it was a great personal story. And I shared it with him. I commended him and his staff. They bought me a business select seat for Southwest. I normally fly economy. I'm perfectly fine being in C-section. For all those that don't know, C-section gets on last. I sent him the ticket. I said, give me a C-section ticket. He said, no, you're going to fly A today. Now, what's interesting is that on my leg here, I get up and I go to I had A1. I get up and go to my A1 section and stand. Not one, but two white women, not together, walked up to me and asked me.
Our pets fill us with their very best. What are we filling them
Commercial.
with? At Instinct.
Are you sure that you're supposed to be in A1? They didn't work.
So this guy, he got on the plane, and the university gave him an A1 seat on the plane. A1, that's the first seat, first row. And two white guys walked up to him and said, "Are you sure you're supposed to be here?" Could you imagine that? Are you sure you're supposed to be in A1 in business class? Nigger? Now they didn't say nigger, but that's what it is. They asked the guy, "Are you sure you're supposed to be up here?" You know, and look how he interprets this.
Southwest. But what they didn't know is that I'm white and I have privilege and I paid for A1, and I don't want you to cheat me out of my whiteness. And so I come to you and I say, one of the things that we're starting to see is the consequence of the lack of wealth. America, you know, Yvette alluded to it. Let me explain it to you a little bit more. The middle Black family, there are 14 million families, 40 million Blacks, is worth 17.
Now listen to this. 14 million Black families, okay? He said 40 million Black families and 14 million, boy, this is hard to rewind this. Let's see.
Cheating me out of my whiteness. And so I come to you and I say, one of the things that we're starting to see is the consequence of the lack of wealth. Today in America, you know, Yvette alluded to it. Let me explain it to you a little bit more. The middle Black family, there are 14 million families, 40 million Blacks, is worth $1,700 without the family card.
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? There are 40 million Blacks and what he said, 14 million married couples that are Black. And he said half of those only have a net worth of wealth of $1,700 when you deduct the car. When you deduct the car. And when Black people, he says that when Black people have that much money, they call themselves middle class. Good grief. $1,700 ain't no money. You can't even classify that as wealth. It's so insignificant. You got a whole family of 4 and y'all only go to work every day and you're only worth $1,700. But we be thinking that we're balling. Yeah, they are. They really are. I really enjoy them.
They didn't work for Southwest. But what they did know is that I'm white and I have privilege and I paid for A1, and I don't want you to cheat me out of my whiteness. And so I come to you and I say, one of the things that we're starting to see is the consequence of the lack of wealth. America, you know, Yvette alluded to it. Let me explain it to you a little bit more. The middle Black family, there are 14 million families, 40 million Blacks, is worth $1,700 without the family card. The middle white family is worth $100,000, but that doesn't tell the whole story.
You hear that? The middle black family. The middle black family is only worth $1,700 when you deduct the car, the couch, the Nintendo. We only worth $1,700. Why is it that our black leaders are not telling us that we ain't worth a damn thing? Why is that? Why are they not telling us that we've been bamboozled into thinking that we big ballers and we are Americans? Why is that? Why won't Jesse and Al Sharpton and Obama and the Congressional Black Caucus, why won't they tell us that we ain't worth nothing? Nothing. And let me tell you this, that's with a college education. Woo! That's with a college education. We ain't worth nothing. So they taught us to lie to ourselves, lie to our children, lie to our friends, and sing "We Shall Overcome." And it's all a lie. Watching all these ratchet black exploitation reality shows. And because they doll all those people up and flash Jay-Z in front of our face and Puff Daddy, we think, and Oprah and Magic Johnson, we think oh yeah, we doing way better than we doing. No, we ain't doing no better than we was doing in slavery. We're not doing no better as a people financially or spiritually as we were when we were slaves. Matter of fact, I would argue that we were more spiritual while in chattel slavery than we are now. I would argue that. Now, these are not any talking points that Antonio Moore is going to bring out. These are not talking points that Yvette Carnell is going to bring out, because they come from a humanistic standpoint of view. And as I said, I appreciate them. But the very solutions that they come to are the very solutions that have us in this situation. And I'm going to proceed.
The top 10% of white families are worth over $1.4 million.
You heard that? The top 10% of white families are worth $1.4 million. 1.4 million. The top 10% of white families is worth 1.4 million. And I think the top 10% of black families are only worth 300,000. The top 10% of black families is only worth 300,000. And if my memory serves me right, half, 50% of white families are worth 500,000. Now you processing these numbers? The top 10% of black families, I think, are only worth 300,000. And that's the top 10%. The half of white families are worth 500,000. And we think this is about working hard and getting a good education. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because the people that got $300,000, Guess what? Black people who got $300,000, guess what they push real hard? Hard work and education. They push that like crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So let's keep going.
What you see is that then they are able to use that education to wedge that opportunity even further, not close any gaps. Is that when you go to UCLA, you don't go to the same UCLA that they go to. The one.
This is a good point that he's making. When a black person goes to Howard, let's say Loyola, Brown, MIT, it's not the same MIT that white people go to. It's not. You know why? Because they are going to they have a preference. All these colleges have preference for white people. When a black person goes to these schools, I don't care how much money they mama got. If you don't know somebody, you can forget it. You're just going to be trying to get through your classes. But the whites that go to Harvard, Yale, Brown, MIT, Loyola, Harvard, Stanford, the white people that go there, oh, they getting a hookup. They're meeting Supreme Court justices. They're meeting the heads of Fortune 500 companies. And what you're doing as a black person there, you're just trying to get through class. You're just trying to get through class. Even if your parents got $300,000 in net worth, you're just trying to get to class. They are getting the hookup. So it don't matter how much money you got. The people that's running the institution are getting the hook up. They're getting the hook up, okay? Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself in thinking that, well, my hard work and my studying hard and education is going to make me surpass those that are getting preferential treatment who have worse grades. It don't work like that, baby. Favor is not fair. Favor is not fair. Favor ain't fair. Think about it, y'all. You're a black person going to Howard, Stanley, Brown, MIT, Whartonburg Business School. And guess who owns all those schools? All your enemies own those schools. Who you think they're going to advance and give preferential treatment? They're going to give preferential treatment to sons of senators, sons and daughters of Fortune 500 companies. They're going to make sure they stay out of jail. The university is going to have connections with the police force and all kinds of a plethora of benefits, a cornucopia of benefits that a black person does not have. And you're going to have immunity if you rape a girl on campus, all kinds of things, all kinds of things. Can't even name all the little benefits that you're going to have if you are preference, if there's preferential treatment for you. I can't even name all this stuff. It's just too many to name. You're white, that's one thing. We're sons and daughters of slaves, and we're demanding that somebody give you preferential treatment. You can never demand that a person gives you preferential treatment. You can't do it. Not in a society that's based on sin. That's just a waste of time. And that's why we need the Most High. See, he's going to give us preferential treatment, not in wickedness, but in righteousness. He said, I'm going to make you the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. I don't want preferential treatment from these people, because it's not going to be real preferential treatment. It's just not. Even if they say it's preferential treatment, they never going to put me above their daughter, their mother, their father, their cousins, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. The Bible says that if we wouldn't listen to our Elohim, we would be below only and not above. That's what the Bible says. Now, I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. So the Bible said they're not going to even put us above. They're not. And when I say us, I mean us as a nation. They're not going to put us above. They're not. So stop marching about them being fair. They were not made to be fair. They were not put over us to be fair with us. You think the Most High put us under a group of wicked people so they could be fair to us? That doesn't make sense. That makes absolutely no sense at all. He said you're going to be below if you break my commandments. He said you won't be above. You won't be. And while we do have a couple of examples in the Bible of people like Joseph and Daniel who were high-ranking officials in other nations' government, as a people, as a nation, we were below. So yeah, you will have your Josephs and your Daniels, but even Daniel and Joseph were below the heads of state, the head of state, which would have been Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar. They were not above Nebuchadnezzar. Pharaoh told Joseph, only in the throne shall I be above you. Right. No one else can save us. No one else can free us. Nobody. Political activism is not going to save us. Economic solidarity is not going to save us. Keeping our families together is not going to save us. Yeah, keeping our families together, and we are wicked families, that's not going to help us. Kinds of Israelite families that are wicked and they stick together like glue, and the Most High is going to have to kill them. So it's not just sticking together, it's how you sticking together. Are you sticking together in righteousness, keeping the commandments, statutes, and laws, having the character, the divine nature of the Most High? Or y'all family sticking together, thugging out, hating, envy, jealous, the seven deadly sins? As a company of fools shall be destroyed.
Pull up with sororities and fraternities and dinners and galas and introductions to the president. You go to the other UCLA. You know, the one that you're with all the minorities, just trying to get through.
Right.
The one where you beg recruiters to see you.
Right.
Despite no affirmative action programs to force them to see you.
Yeah, you go to these colleges and you beg. Black people, even with money, have to beg for recruiters to see their children. That means you don't have preferential treatment. You might have money. You might even have some connections. But if you ain't got preferential treatment, please. If you don't have favoritism working on your side, you're going to get locked out. I don't care if you 1% of your class or the top of your class. You're not going to get those type of benefits.
And, you know, I think what we start to forget is what created our boomer class. Our boomer class, I commend you guys so much. You guys worked through so many things. But what I will say to you is that, in my view, a ball was dropped. We became apolitical as we watched The Cosby Show and Felicia Rashad and Bill Cosby, and we forgot what would happen as a result of being apolitical. When we look at our younger children, so often we say, well, then why are you driving Uber? The bigger question should be, why are you driving Uber after graduating from Howard? And what you see is that as a result of being apolitical, what we forgot is that what happens if private business is allowed.
I read an article not too long ago. 4% of college graduates work at Walmart, and they have advanced degrees. They work at Walmart. $150,000 to work at Walmart? To debt. So you can work at Walmart? Really? Wow. He's lying to us. The pastors are lying to us. The politicians are lying to us. Our mama and our daddy is lying to us. Our parents, the 3 Ps, parents and politicians, they all lying. Parents and some out of lust for being an American. Piece of that poisonous pie.
To operate and run them up. And I think that when we look back at what happened this last 8 years, we were so caught up in the visual of Obama that we forgot who Obama was. Come on, man. You know, I've said this to Yvette before. We can't look at this thing based on appearance. Ta-Nehisi Coates did a piece just this week for The Atlantic, and it's called The First White President. I have a piece coming out on The Intercept today. Not our first white president, and it won't be our last. What's happening is we're trying to recreate whiteness into Skeletor and Obama into He-Man. In reality, what you see is that whiteness is a communal asset. It's the communal asset that
I like that. Whiteness is a communal asset. Asset for our oppression. See this. And I want to tell you something. A lot of our people are infatuated with whiteness. They are infatuated with the trappings that comes with this communal white privilege. Take it. Down to our money, political activism, the way we order our families, the way we raise our families, the places we want to raise our families. lusting after white supremacy. It's virtually made us culture vultures. We should desire less because we're not Caucasian. I think we should desire more. More is fighting over that poisonous pie that they've been trying to feed us. Well, that we are hooked on.
Those two white men trying to access at Southwest. It's the communal access that allows you to make sure your kids are safe in floods. It's the communal access that has tied white people to, it's like black people are tied to an anchor, and white people are tied to the ship that drops the anchor down. I can't help it.
I would say it this way. Black people are the anchor of white supremacy. People are the anchor that keeps the ship of white supremacy all over the place. Our oppression is actually what stabilizes the ship of white supremacy. And guess what we want to do? We don't want to be the anchor no more. Separation and equal rights is being part of the ship. Is neither the ship nor the anchor. And see, that's the problem that I have with the worldview of Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell. They want us to be the ship, which is oppression. They just don't want to be the anchor no more. Y'all follow me here? Does this make sense? See, that whole ship with the anchor, it needs to be destroyed. And a whole new boat. You see? Like they talk about politic body. Yvette talks about politic body. Now, I'm not against a politic body per se, a politic body that mimics the apparatus of our oppressor. Because remember, the politic body that they have is one of lying, cheating, laws that actually hate us. I'm not looking for a politic body like that. So when you tell me about a politic body and with that motto, I don't know. No. I think their politic body shouldn't be mimicked. I think their politic body should be altogether destroyed. So don't come to me with, yeah, we're going to get our politic body by copying their politic body, imposing it onto us as black people. No, that's not going to work. It's going to be a failure. It's failure. Your enemy has to be killed, annihilated, totally destroyed. What we want to do is keep our enemy living in our pathology, our minds, system. We want to fight our enemy. We want to fight our mortal enemy, but we want to hold and cling hard to the philosophy of our enemy and build a politic body, an economic structure, an educational structure, a family structure. No, the Most High is going to destroy it if we do that. Look, that's why nothing we do as a people is successful. Nothing, because we're not looking to the Most High for our blueprint. We're looking to our oppressors for our blueprint. Recipe for failure. We've never succeeded. That's why Black Wall Street was burned to the ground, because when black people were in the middle of Jim Crow, and Reconstruction, guess what we was trying to do in Tulsa, Oklahoma? We was trying to, that's why they called it Black Wall Street. The thing that was sold on Wall Street was slaves. And then we go start a town and call it Black Wall Street? You ought to have been ashamed to call a place for slaves Black Wall Street. Somebody should have been getting the taste slapped out of their mouth for even suggesting something like that. But the Most High did something, went one better. Out of our mouth. Also, Oklahoma got bombed and burned to the ground. The Most High said, thou shalt have no other God before me. And you know what black people was going to do? To make a God out of our economic hub in Wall Street, on Black Wall Street, Rosewood. So what the Most High did, he let it look like it was going to thrive, and then he let the devil come in and tear it up. Idolizing those things. They were idolizing those things. Place was cursed because we were trying to be like our oppressors. And that's why the place is called Black Wall Street. That's why it's called Black Wall Street. People want to be white, like the people on White Wall Street. So when we say, well, they got a White Wall Street, I gotta wonder, if the White Wall Street oppression, how much oppression was going on in Tulsa, Oklahoma? How much? Constitution. They still were worshiping white Jesus. They still was worshiping on Sunday. Whites are not supposed to charge usury. Our banks were modeled just like their banks, charging high interest rates. With this, we had our own schools, and you know what we did? We modeled it just like the white people. And guess what? Their school system is set up to oppress us. System is set up to oppress us. And then what we go do? We go start a bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma, modeled right just like theirs. The scriptures to see how we should set up our financial institutions, our schools, families, our dress code, our insurance companies. Our insurance companies was mimicking theirs to a T. As a matter of fact, companies in Tulsa, as I recall it, there was not a bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this is something I really need to really research. But I read somewhere that there was no bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Could you believe that? People had to come from the white bank, had to come and collect money. How do you have a real Black Wall Street, but white mommy and white daddy have to, all y'all money is in their bank? All the insurance companies, for all y'all insurance is underwritten by their banks and financial institutions. How is it a real town anyway? It's not. You mimic everything they do, and the real important stuff, guess what? They really own it, like the banks. Oh, I tell you what, brother. Yvette will ban us with our talking points. She loves this system. And me. But maybe she banned me too. I don't know. Whatever. I think she's intelligent. I think she's intelligent, but she's lost. She's intelligent. No doubt. She is intelligent. But she's lost. She got a lot of, like I was talking to you on the phone yesterday. She has a lot of data. She has a lot of facts. But what is facts if you don't know what to do with the information? You just guessing what to do with a black politic body and all this stuff. So she's brilliant with facts, but she's not brilliant as to how to synthesize and sort through this information. Antonio Moore. No shade, none of that. Man, I'm an Israelite, so I'm gonna know more than they do. I'm gonna know what to do with this stuff. I know she loves this system. That's why she always talking about politic body. Appeal to the government and all this stuff. Reparations.
But tell you this, and I'm going to share a small section because so many people don't know this brief data. And this is a section from the piece that I have coming out today. Obama's 8 years on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Under Obama, Black America suffered some of the worst years it has seen since the Civil Rights Movement. From record lows in small business administration loans given to African Americans, which reached a low of 1.8%, while under Bush, recipients were over 8% of the program. Under the unemployment rate for African Americans.
Look at that, y'all. The business loans during Obama's administration was 1.8. Business loans during Reagan was, I think, 8 point something. I'm telling us through that. Anytime that black people try to succeed on who they are, it's going to be a failure. And they're actually trying to mimic their oppressors. It's going to be worse for them. So Obama hurt black people more than Reagan did. More than Reagan. Why? Because 95% of black people voted for Obama. 95% of the people, a higher percentage of those people don't even know they're Israelites. We cursed.
10%, while under President Obama, it jumped to well over 14%. African American home ownership even dropped to a 25-year low during Obama's tenure. In total,
wow. African American home ownership dropped to a 25-year low under the Obama administration. Wow. 5-year low. Know that the housing bubble was bursting, and he inherited some of that. My thing is, I'm not just looking at Obama, I'm looking at how the Most High is blocking everything we do. From home ownership to a politic body to finance to education, the Most High is blocking everything. When he said you're going to be beneath only, that's what he meant. Get 12 PhDs and you got more letters behind your name than the alphabet.
The wealth gap between white America and Black America grew by 30% under President Obama. Think about that. Under the first Black president, the wealth gap grew by 30%. Of having Bush as a Republican given. loans to small business administrations, while Obama did 1.8.
So Reagan gave 8% on business administration versus 1%. But let's remember this, y'all. Let's just don't blame this on the black guy or the white guy. The presidents, they are puppets. All the presidents are puppets. But now I want to show you how the Most High hand is in here. The Most High hand is in this because black people really come out to vote. That's when the Most High is really about to spank us. Get a real nice hard slap with the belt. That happened during the Obama administration. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, CG, concerning her sexual orientation, lesbian or bisexual, because it seems like when you have these type of women that's real strong and they have like a simpish like sidekick male, 9 out of 10, it's probably some lesbianism going on. 9 out of 10. Lesbian, some butchiness. And there's a lot of butchiness. I get a butchy vibe off of her. Butchy vibe. You know? And that Army guy that's on her show, he's married to a Caucasian woman. All this black politic body, but he's married to a white woman. You see? Is that most of his friends are white. So it's some little simpish behavior. He's like the Tonto and she's like the Lone Ranger. So it's something perverted going on.
If there are no black businesses, who will hire black students? The only way that the education works to close the racial wealth gap is with a surrounding support system to make sure that education can be plugged into an outlet. To force.
You heard that? Only way education can really work, he says, and I believe this. It makes a lot of sense. Fiscal sense. That education can really help you is if you are surrounded by a network that already have substantial wealth. You see what I'm saying? Even if you don't have education, but you're surrounded by everybody and there's a billionaire, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. If you're surrounded, that's the people who are millionaires and billionaires and got over $500,000 in liquid cash, not just assets, liquid cash. Don't need no education. I mean, this is why people go to school. People that go to school are never going to be in touch with that kind of money. They never.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, son, how you doing? She thinks that the white elephant in the broke black community. It doesn't matter if we gay. Look at her show. Yeah, I kind of think. Yeah, I figured that that's what she thought. And the irony is, she talks a lot about family. You know, she talk about the black family from time to time, and so I even got some vibe off of that spirit.
System to acknowledge that we are now educated. A system that for hundreds of years has always said you are not educated and can't be. New York Times did a piece, and it talked about like wealth and race and education. I want to share a section, and what it says is that economists emphasize that college-educated Blacks and Hispanics overall earn significantly more and are in better position to accumulate wealth than Blacks and Hispanics who do not get degrees. The problem is we don't live separately anymore. Median family income in 2013 was at least twice as high, and their median family wealth was 3.5 to 4 times greater than that of non-graduates. But while these college grads had more assets, they suffered disproportionately during periods of financial trouble. During the Great Recession, is that the impact on Black people was multiplied many times over compared to white Americans. Now, as a result, after the fact, America has not resolved what it will need to do to get back on track. College education is a powerful tool, but it sits in a toolbox that needs to be used appropriately. That requires us as a population to make sure that the government allows us to use. I gave you
A commercial.
Mother is a beautiful, spectacular attack of a movie.
My wife loves having company.
Make them go.
handout for everybody that had it on their chair. And what it was titled is Education is Not the Great Equalizer.
Education is not the great equalizer. And Black people should know this. 30 years after slavery, you know who the most literate group of people on the face of the earth was? It was Black people. Did y'all know that? The most literate group of people on the face of the earth, 30 years after slavery, it was Black people. How much did it help us during Jim Crow? Help us during the Great Depression? It didn't help us at all. It didn't help us at all, y'all. Help us get jobs because they started the unions. They started the labor unions to make sure niggas don't get the jobs. That's why they started labor unions, to keep Black people out. After slavery, you have the hardest working people on the face of the earth. You have the hardest working group of people on the face of the earth, and they are let loose. White people know it. Are outnumbered by slaves. And guess what happens? White people know they can't compete with a person who ain't never got paid before, and they are highly skilled. They're the most skilled group of people on the face of the earth, the most hardest working people on the face of the earth. They had to start unions. They had to start unions so they could catch up. Realize us. They couldn't, you can't compete with no slave. With a slave who's never got paid? You can't compete. They carpenters, they plumbers, they painters, farmers, horticulture. Many of the inventions that were made during the turn of the century, guess what? White people had to compete with inventors who invented stuff for free. Stuff for their slave masters for free. They couldn't compete with that. Compete with that. You can't compete with a slave. And then supercharge this idea by with the idea that the whole time these people were slaves, guess what brainwashing that you did to them? Boy, one day I wish I could be like who? Now, you got the most powerful, hardworking labor force in the world, on the planet. Supercharge that with that all these slaves are now free, that they can be like massa. They think that they could be greater than massa. A white person couldn't compete with that. Couldn't compete with that. These people were beasts. They were beasts. They wanted to be Americans so bad. American more than white people. They wanted to be American more than white people did. If only they just had a chance to work their trades, their skills, their talents, their gifts, ingenuity. But they never did. That's what the labor unions are for. They're nothing but white supremacy. That's all it is white supremacy. And I know black people, they love unions. I get it. I understand it. I understand the fiscal ramifications of joining a union. I used to be in a union. I don't think I would ever join a union again. I didn't like the atmosphere in unions. I didn't like it. Yeah. Now look at this. Look at this, CG. Hardest working people on the planet. They slaves. Set free. And they still can't accumulate nothing. So don't tell me about hard work. Don't tell me about black people lazy. Just stop it. Because immediately after slavery, guess what black people wanted to do? They thought they was going to work themselves above their captivity. It never happened to this day. Never happened. Many of our people during Reconstruction and Jim Crow got killed because they worked so hard. Their property was confiscated because they worked so hard. They were being so successful. Their lands were seized. Caucasian people, they were set up by their own people. So don't tell me nothing about black people just need to work hard and unity. Black people ain't never had as much unity as they had right after slavery. Never. So it's not about unity. It's not about unity. It's not about working hard. It's not about education. It's not about getting married, because when we was married, we still couldn't bust a grape. Kept us at the bottom. So all these things that we say it is wrong. Thing we never tried. We never turned back to our Elohim. We've never done it. That's the one thing that we've never done. And we never identified who we really are. White folks used to be scared of how educated black people were, how we kept our families together, how hard we worked. That was terrorism. This is why the Ku Klux Klan was started. Labor unions were started. Jim Crow started. Black codes. The prison industrial complex started. Because what? And the abolitionist movement. Abolitionist movement was our enemy. I will say it again because you don't believe me. The abolitionist movement is an enemy of black people, because I want to tell you why. Abolitionists, they believe that you shouldn't slave black people and hurt black people, but they don't believe that we should be above them or even equal. To all those white people that was hiding us on the Underground Railroad, they still looked at us as beneath, tried to get us to be equal. Never. No abolitionist, not even the father of the abolitionist movement. Douglass spoke to him, the father of the abolitionist movement. His name escapes me right now. He told Frederick Douglass, he said, I don't want y'all to be equal to us now. I just don't want y'all to be slaves. I want you to be free, but I don't want you to be equal, and I certainly don't want you to be above. He told Frederick Douglass this. So he just wants us to be slaves by another name. He just wants us to be slaves by another name. Softcore slaves. They always want to have us under their foot, not over their head or equal. So the abolitionists were just as racist as the people that wanted to slave us. They still believed that we were only 3/5 of a human being. And these are some of the nuances that a lot of black people can't get. And you could tell, see, when I listen to Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, see, they think that we're past that. The way they address and the solutions they come up with. All equal human beings. No, we're not.
The powerful thing about this chart, you can take it home and read it later, is that what it shows is that white.
Hey, whoever's in the room, enjoying this information that I'm sharing from the perspective that I'm giving, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that a lot.
People that don't even graduate from high school have more wealth than black people that graduate from college.
Oh, this is deep.
This comes from Umbrellas Don't Make It Rain, a powerful report done by Sandy Garrity and Darcy. Make sure that the government allows us to use it. I gave you guys an actual handout for everybody that had it on their chair. And what it was titled is Education is Not the Great Equalizer. About this chart, you can take it home and read it later, is that what it shows, if you look.
Listen to this, y'all.
White people that don't even graduate from high school have more wealth than black people that graduate from college.
You hear that? White people who don't graduate from high school have more wealth than black people that graduate from college. Favoritism, y'all. Favoritism. So that means everything that our parents taught us was a lie. Go to school, get a good education. Well, why do white people who don't get a good education? wealth than us because they parents who are baby boomers can hand stuff down. White people are hoarding wealth. White people possess 90% of the wealth in the United States. Did you know that? Only control 2% of the wealth in the United States. So it don't matter how much education you got. It don't matter if you Oprah or Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan. Guess what? Your people is at the bottom. As a matter of fact, you don't even have a network of billionaires to surround yourself with. You just don't have that. Billionaires, yeah, they have they got a governmental system that protects their money, banks that protects their money, insurance companies, financial institutions. So when I see black people bragging about how much money they make, I just know I'm dealing with ignorance. If your people don't have any money, you are broke. I don't care if you're a billionaire, trillionaire. Have any money if your people are broke, because you ain't got nobody to help protect you. Look at Bill Cosby. Look at Bill Cosby. He ain't got nobody to protect him. With all the money he got to buy lawyers, his people can't get around here and protect him. And they got equivalent amounts of money. He don't have that. All by himself. And people like Oprah and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, they're going to stay away from him with a 10-foot pole because they know that they don't have no network like that either. Daddy just whoop his butt. And then come back and say, oh, you all right? Yeah, plead for Trump. That's like pleading for the devil for your cause. You know, it's just wrong-headed.
Umbrellas Don't Make It Rain, a powerful report done by Sandy Darity and Darren Hamilton. We live in a country where
Sandy Darity is a very astute scholar and economist. I'm going to get a couple of his books and read them because I want to get to this type of stuff. You know, I don't want to be the Hebrew Israelite that just talk about, you know, Yahweh Shai is black. I want to talk about stuff that really affect our lives, activity in an intricate way. I don't just want to talk about and Jacob, and that's fine. That has its place. But I want to talk about something more that deals with us today and the plight that we face today and how to navigate this thing.
I graduated from UCLA, and a white man's son that doesn't graduate from high school can have more money than me. That isn't going to work going forward. Now, what's interesting about this whole thing, you know, so often we debate here, what are the solutions, what are the answers? And I think part of the problem is that we've never really dealt.
He's about to address what are the solutions and what are the answers. Okay. Now, as an Israelite, not as a Christian and not as a humanist, Israelite, serving the Most High God of the universe. I think Moore and Yvette Carnell are always have to face the question, what's the solution? First of all, the things that they are to us are not real solutions. For most people, and I don't even care if they're not Israelites, it's not a solution. It sounds like much of the same rhetoric that most black people have heard most of their life in the United States. They discount it as being a solution. They don't see it being effective. And I think people are sensing that there has to be something else. I have a dream did not help us. It didn't. It hurt us. Segregation, desegregation, it hurt us. This Board of Education, that hurt us. Everything that we've marched for has been a detriment to us. Everything.
We need baby steps before we can run.
Now listen to what he's saying here. He said we need baby steps. When he's about to address the problem as to what the solution is, it seems like he is capitulating a little bit. Now we have to make baby steps. He's saying that we need to make baby steps in our approach to coming with a solution. He really knows what the solution is. Why baby steps? The reason why, because you don't know what to do. And you're so afraid of doing the wrong thing because the solutions that you are bringing to us, guess what? They've already been tried before. They have been tried and they have colossally failed. You say, okay, let's take baby steps. Well, if you're doing the wrong step, big step or a baby step, it's still the wrong step. You feel me? Wrong step. Still the wrong step. So whether you take a baby step and it's the wrong step, and a big step, a leap, and it's still the wrong step. You bring it out, they've been tried before. That's why you're thinking that, well, if we just take a baby step, it won't be as bad. No, it's going to be just as bad. It's going to exasperate the situation.
We continuously say black business can pull us out.
Listen to this.
We continuously say some university can pull us out.
Okay.
But when you start to look at this thing, you have to peel back the layers.
Business, university.
And if you start at the end, then you will find yourself commending someone with a tax service business. Business that's black, that's no different than if somebody who's white with the same thing. Or anything of the sort. So my answer is that we gotta not only move business, but look at black politics. And before we get to black politics, we need to look at the education of what black politics should be. And before we do that,
see, the solution is, he don't know what the solution is. Look at all the capitulations that are being made. What the solution is. Well, before we do this, we have to do that. And then before we do that, we have to do this. And then before we have to do this, we do that. We have to do this and do that. And then I think at the end of all that litany of things, guess what? He basically says something to the effect that, well, we're just going to have to see what works. That lets me know that you don't know what to do. But I don't want to quote him wrong. So, because back.
We need to look at the education of what black politics should be.
Education.
And before we do that is the most important thing. We need a knowledge of self. You know, I think for a lot of us, we don't really...
A knowledge of self. A knowledge of self. You think Antonio Moore is going to say, you know what, we're the Israelites? No. He's not going to even mention none of that. Knowledge of self. Now, all the things that have never worked for us, that we keep trying over and over and over, is actually giving us a knowledge of self. We shouldn't be trying to be like white people. We shouldn't be trying to be like American elitists. We should be trying to be Israelites. The thing that we have done and failed is actually indicative of who we really supposed to be. Because obviously the Most High is not with us on none of the stuff that we be trying.
Understand the impact that slavery had. We don't understand what the cost is not to know who your great-great-grandparents really are. We don't understand that when Yvette talked earlier about white privilege, that white privilege sits on the backs of black bodies. One of the things that you can always get talking to that old grandma.
See, we got to know that we was more than just slaves, because he just stopped there. Know that we were more than slaves. We got to know that. We got to know that we were the chosen people. We got to know that we are the nation of priests and kings, like the Bible tells us in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. The light of the world, Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. Matthew chapter 5, verse 15. We need to understand these things, but we don't understand that.
Real story of a lynching or some heinous act that now has been banned in our society, but the wealth of it still sits here.
See, that we can trace our heritage back to is slavery, and nothing before slavery. Guess what? It in. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to repeat the history of all the mistakes we have made in trying to secure education to get a leg up, hard work to get a leg up, getting a AAA credit to get a leg up, businesses to get a leg up, keeping our families together to get a leg up. Everything we've done has failed. It has failed. Higher learning has failed. We tried segregation, desegregation. Everything we've done has failed. Poets, writers, everything is a failure that we do. Now, you said, well, brother, what's the solution? I keep telling you what the solution is. But don't think because I just keep saying everything we do is a failure, it excludes, it crosses out the fact that I've been giving you solutions. I'm giving you solution. We need to turn back to the Most High as Israelites and worship our God and leave white Jesus alone. Burn white Jesus in hell. That's what we need to do. That's our solution. And instead of building up families, with the American oppressor model, we need to build up families with the Israelite, born again with a divine nature model. That's how we're going to be successful. So you want the solution? I'm telling you the solution, but you don't want to hear the solution. Most solutions that we've been given ever since we've been over here, and they've been a failure.
I feel like in many ways, one of the things that we need to do is acknowledge that none of these things independently, from getting married, from getting a college education, none of these things independently fix the racial wealth gap. But together, along with government action.
Now, it's about the racial wealth gap, okay? What he's really talking about, activity. The phrase racial wealth gap is just a nomenclature for captivity. That's all it is. for captivity. That's it. A racial wealth gap, you're talking about slavery. Slaves, yes, we are still slaves today, y'all. Slaves, and I want to tell you what we're a slave of. We're a slave to sin. Slaves to a nation that loves sin. The slaves to a nation that loves sin is because guess why? We still love sin. It's really more about that than just about white people. White people are just the tool. That's all. In love with is Israelite is sin. And so since we're in love with sin so much, the Most High put us in captivity to a nation who is sin. And guess what we're trying to do? Mimic them. Get free. The freedom that we're seeking is not the real freedom that the Most High wants us to have. We want freedom to be Americans, but the Most High wants us to have freedom so we can be Israelites with a divine nature, the character of the Most High. Thank you for the thumbs up. Oh, the thumbs downs too, but more so for the thumbs up.
Can move a long way. I want to share with you a small section of my discussion with Sandy Darity so you can actually see that, and then we'll come back.
He's playing an interview. Sandy Darity is very brilliant economist, and he is a tenured, renowned economist. He's not, you know, this guy. And matter of fact, Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell get a lot of their information from him. Other sources as well, but this guy is really, he's a heavy hitter. Things have been made clear to me about our captivity. Now, they call it a racial wealth gap. Captivity, slavery. That's all a racial wealth gap is. It's just a euphemism for slavery. That's really what we are.
So, to be precise, yes, the educational if you can take into account education, you get these enormous differences as well. And one of the striking findings from our work at the national level is the finding that blacks with a college degree have about 2/3 of the net worth of whites who never finished high school.
Blacks with a college degree have 2/3 the wealth who never graduated from high school. You want to tell me that's not slavery? Give me that chord for the beat spill. Oh, holy app.
Yes.
Did you hear me?
Oh, no. What?
Give me the chord for the beat spill. My battery's dying. It's in the back room back there.
So the standard kinds of beliefs that education will solve all problems clearly doesn't.
Yeah. Some of the whites have. Oh, you're talking about the blacks. Yeah, the blacks eat, and that's one of the reasons why blacks have less wealth, because they be in debt. With the same education is not going to have as much debt. You know why? Because the system favors them. It's going to give them a discount on their education or wipe it out altogether. We don't have it like that, and we're not supposed to have it like that. He said you're going to be below and not above.
To the racial wealth gap. It doesn't apply at all to the racial wealth gap. And so you mentioned the question of inheritance, of family heritage, family lineage. This is crucial. There's a study that Ed Wolf and Norman Gittleman did that demonstrated that if you take into account the socioeconomic status of a given household, no significant difference in the savings behavior between black and white households. And
you heard that? And there's no significant difference in the saving gap between whites and blacks. Significant. So this idea that blacks don't save money and all we do is buy weave and Jordans, J's, it's not significant. And then he's going to tell you that in some areas we outsave white people. We outsave them in some areas.
in fact, in some categories of income, black households actually have a higher savings rate than white households. So it's not the savings practices of black folks that leads to these huge gaps. The critical thing is, as you said, lineage. It's what you can receive from your parents and your grandparents in the way of resources. What you inherit, what you receive in the way of gifts. And
now this is profound. It's profound, and this just gave me a paradigm shift in my processing of wealth. It's what you hand down to your children that really, they said that is the largest indicator of how wealthy a person is going to be. What is handed down, not how high your education is, not does that factor in? Yes, it does. Depends on if you're black and white. You see, he said the overruling most significant factor is what is handed down to you by the baby boomers. Age. Are they going to hand down to you? And that's what puts our Caucasian counterparts at a huge advantage. Because see, they handed down stuff that was handed down to them and handed down to their parents. You see that, y'all? It like that. And then one of the things that they don't really address too much is the institutionalized heirship give you from generations to generation, like banks, schools, jobs. Even factor that stuff in, y'all really balling above us.
And gifts are crucial because I think people don't always think about what might constitute a gift. Suppose your parents give you the car, or suppose your parents give you the couch. Then that's not something that you have to make debt payments on.
Right.
Suppose your parents finance your college education in its entirety. Then again, that's something you don't have to make debt payments on. And so your wealth position is boosted significantly by those kinds of contributions from the previous generation.
Yeah, that's very significant. Contributions are significantly increased when your parents pay for your education outright. You got a leg up on most people. School, but in life. Could you imagine? And then on top of that, they give you a car. And then they, on top of that, they give you a house. Now look at this. Most of your debt is going to come from where? Your life, school, a home, and a car. And your parents give you all three of those? And you don't even look at that. You're so jaded by the love of your parents that you don't even consider those things and count them as contributions that they have made. They give you furniture, all kinds of stuff. Arts. You don't even have to buy gas to go to work. See, we don't know nothing about that kind of wealth. Most black people don't know nothing about that. And even white people, white kids, and stuff, they don't even count those things. Car they mama bought, the down payment they put on a house, or a house outright. They don't even count that. They pulling themselves up by their bootstrap. Do for them, they like, oh well, my parents just did that. That's just something they supposed to do. But those things are huge. Set you up so you can hand something down to who? Your children. Why? Because they paid for your car. They put a down payment on your house, or paid for it outright, or gave you a house. And then it was something else. Oh, and they paid for your education. Family can't. A black family making worth $300,000 can't compete with that. Let's say the education you get is worth $150,000. House that you buy is worth $200,000. So you already at $300,000. You don't have to make payment on, and then they get you a car. Then they get you a car for 60 grand. So your life is already set up where you can start putting stuff aside for your children. And then when your parents about to die, guess what? You're gonna be an heir to other things. With that, you can't compete with that. And let me say this. And then you got to think about the collateral effects of all those things. When your parents have bought you a car, you don't have any school debt, you don't have a home loan. These are three major things. And then you work your job, if you have one, or your home business for a year. Your parents have already set you up where you're going to have AAA credit. Open a business. You're going to be able to get angel investors and venture capitalists to fund your ideas because they're going to see that you're credit worthy. You're going to have collateral. You see? Collateral effects. Parents, doing all those things for you, setting your life up. And that's what parents are supposed to do.
Unfortunately, whereas black families are extremely committed to education. They rarely have the capacity to support their kids to that extent. And so So we bear educational debt. We don't usually get a significant amount of support for making a down payment on a home from our parents, whereas in some cases, white kids might get the entire house from their parents. Very, very unusual for that to be the case for blacks, particularly a house that has a high level of equity. So yeah, I mean, there's a historical narrative here that's crucial in terms of what factors affected the kinds of resources that earlier generations of black folks had to transfer to the newer generations. And that story begins with slavery, but it carries on, more importantly, into the period after slavery, where whatever wealth black folks accumulated, usually got
I want y'all to hear something here.
Support for making a down payment on a home from our parents, whereas in some cases, white kids might get the entire house from their parents. Very, very unusual for that to be the case for blacks, particularly a house that has a high level of equity.
So even if white parents don't buy their children a house outright or give their children, bequeath to their children a house outright, but they put but they give their children a home that has tremendous equity in it. Leg up, that is. You know what kind of leg up that is? If the parents own a house that they bought in the 70s, and when they bought it in the 70s, it was worth $100,000, but today is worth $2 million, $150,000. Yeah, way more than that. 1.252 million equity in the house. You know what kind of leg up that is? Huge leg up. That's a huge leg up.
So yeah, I mean, there's a historical narrative here that's crucial in terms of what factors affected the kinds of resources that earlier generations of black folks had to transfer to the newer generations. And that story begins with slavery, but it carries on, more importantly, into the period after slavery, where whatever.
And let me say this too, because he said it begins with slavery. No, it doesn't. It begins when we fell away from the Most High. It begins. See, have been brainwashed into believing that we need to always start at our ground zero is slavery. No, our ground zero is when we told the Most High, we're not going to do nothing you say. Our ground zero. Our ground zero is when we was telling the Most High, we want to be just like all the other nations. Our ground zero, not slavery. Slavery is not our ground zero, y'all. That's like saying the ground zero for Adam and Eve is when they got kicked out the garden. No, it wasn't. For Adam and Eve is when they ate of the forbidden fruit. That was their ground zero. That was the ground zero. But we always want to start in slavery, feel sorry for ourselves. And because we always start in slavery, we never are positioned, never to point at ourselves and say, you know what, where did we go wrong at? We start on somebody done me wrong song. Esau done me wrong song. Yeah, Esau done us wrong, but the Bible says, as the bird by wandering and the swallow by flying, the curse causeless shall not come. This idea of starting and making a slavery the ground zero. No, I'm not saying that Esau or these other nations who slaved us, they're going to get off the hook because they're going to be killed, annihilated. lips annihilated. So they don't get off the hook. Because the Most High is going to annihilate them later on, don't mean that lets us off the hook right now by making slavery our ground zero. Get in front of slavery and see, how did we go into captivity? Who are we as a people, a nation? But we don't want to do that. We just want to talk about slavery. And that's what and that pattern, that pathology makes me suspicious of these bouquet of characters. Not to be disrespectful, and I mean Antonio Moore, Yvette Carnell, and Sandy Darity. You know, it kind of make me, because it's like, wait a minute, y'all. You guys are way more intelligent than I am. Want to start at ground zero for us, slavery as our ground zero? No. Ground zero is when we left the Most High. That's when we as a nation became a zero. Passed down to the ground.
Black folks accumulated, was frequently seized, appropriated, taken away from them, or destroyed, like in cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Wilmington, North Carolina. And black folks never got the 40 acres and a mule that was promised in the aftermath of the Civil War. So we've never had the foundation for a significant amount of wealth transferred to the next generations. And I think
so. Telling us here that we never had a foundation to create significant amount of wealth. Yeah. See, this is that capitalism. He's trying to tell us that our foundation is capitalism. Our foundation is the Most High. See, that's where all this stuff, evaporates into materialism, capitalism, humanism. I'm against all of that stuff that these guys are giving. But when I listen to this kind of stuff, see, this is the kind of stuff that keeps us away from the Most High. Our foundation, financial stability. No, I disagree with that. You can have finances and still be broke and not even know what to do with the money. I know people like that. They got a boatload of money and don't know what in the world to do with it. They don't even share it.
That's the key factor in explaining these huge gaps that we observe.
And before I transition into asking a couple questions about hard work and the idea of next Bill Gates in the making, like Beyonce's song says, Black Bill Gates and things of the sort. What I really wanted to kind of do is give context of what you're saying. Washington Post did an article.
Yeah, that's something I want to say too. Beyonce and her song, I don't know what song it was, but she talked about being a Black Bill Gates. This is the pathology of Black people. We want to be a Black Bill Gates. We want to be a Black Robert Branson, Black Wall Street. All of these things are white things that are owned by oppressors. There's something criminal about you wanting to be like your oppressor. Talking about Beyonce, talking about you want to be a Black Bill Gates. Ain't Bill Gates trying to sterilize most of the world? Beyonce. See this, and see that's what I have a problem with.
About 3 months ago, when they went into Atlanta, I don't know if you're familiar with this piece, and they went to these areas where Blacks had homes, these tracts, and what they found is that most of the homes actually never appreciated, and some, and I'm not when I say some, a large chunk actually depreciated just by the virtue of having Black neighborhoods. I contrast that with an image that I'm putting up now, where this is just any home in Los Angeles off of Red and Lowe's. I just stopped and took a picture of these homes. I blocked off the address because nobody needs to know the address. But this isn't a superstar home. This family, this white family, bought this home in 1981 for $129,000.
So they bought a home in 1980 for $129,000. Wait till he tell you how much the home has appreciated.
$1.9 billion. And the dynamic of us saying to ourselves, from that oppression. I think a lot of times in this environment, I actually posted an article maybe about 3 months ago where they went into Atlanta. I don't know if you're familiar with the space.
Look, he went into Atlanta.
They went to these areas where blacks had homes, these tracts. And what they found is that most of the homes actually never appreciated. And some, and I'm not when I say some, a large chunk actually depreciated. Just by the virtue of having black neighborhoods. I contrast that with an image that I'm putting up now, where this is just any home in Los Angeles off of your brand and others. I just stopped and took a picture of this home. I blocked off the address because nobody needs to know the address. But this isn't a superstar home. This family, this white family, bought this home in 1981 for $129,000. This home today is worth $1.9 billion. And the dynamic.
Now look at that. They bought it for in 1981 at $129,000. He went and he checked the house out to see how much it was worth today. $1.9 million. So let's extrapolate all the points and bring everything together. Your parents, they pay for your school. They pay for your car, or they give you a down payment or whatever, go half with you. Go home after you got graduated. Let's say it's this home. They give you a home. And the house, guess what? It's worth $100,900,000. $1,900,000. Hey baby, how you doing? $1,900,000. And then guess what? A white neighborhood. Because it's in a white neighborhood, guess what? The house is going to appreciate even more. The house is going to appreciate even more after they bequeath that house to their children. So they got all kinds of advantages starting out their lives, all kinds of advantages. Try to get these type of advantages by being them, copying them, mimicking them. You can't compete with them.
Us saying to ourselves, I should have been there either to buy it or something of the sort. What we lose is the reality that at that time you had put 20% down for your name. And the reality of even then they still might not let you move in the neighborhood because of hard racism. And that's one.
Yeah, that's a good point he brings. Now, in 1980, this home that he's talking about that this white couple bought for $129,000, one of the things that a lot of black people don't factor in, 81, you wouldn't have even been able to move into that neighborhood, even if you had $300,000. You know why? Because of hard racism, which is another word for the curses. Let you move in that neighborhood in 1981. So you wouldn't even get the opportunity for your house to appreciate to 1.9 million from a buying price in 1981 of $129,000. Because they wouldn't even let you move in that community. People think that house in the 80s, yeah, but please, let you move in that neighborhood they wouldn't even show that house to you in the 80s. The real estate agent would have made sure they blocked you from that house. The broker. So you see what I'm saying?
Kind of happen in context of your overall review is the dynamic of using the terminology black and white makes us believe in a one-to-one ratio between blacks and whites. I'm not even talking American, I'm talking about structurally. Whereas before the 80s, and really before, I'm gonna say even before the mid 70s, what we understood is that color meant that you had been oppressed. And then white meant that you had been given advantages from that oppression.
That's what it means.
A lot of times in this modern era, that has been lost. That has been lost. So what we
now we say oppressed. Word is you're slaves. You're captives. I know we like to use the euphemism oppressed, and it's appropriate to an extent. Really brings to light our real plight is that we're captives and slaves in this country. Oh, no, not this one.
Well, we can't answer it.
Okay.
What we reformat everything to believe is that hard work and education will allow us to close the wealth gap. I mean, Beyonce has a song that basically said that you're going to be the next black Bill Gates. Every time you speak against that, people say you're not being positive, quote unquote. I mean, so many classes that come on how you can teach your black child to be a millionaire.
Realistic.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right there. I can go on and on and on. Stop right there. I just wanted to share this with you. I think this is something they're giving. And the reason why I'm here as a facilitator and a sharer is to give you this information from a Hebraic, looking after the divine nature. That's why I am doing this. Now, I know some people, they consider this stealing, even though it's a public, and he even asks you to share his information. But reveal the futility of some of these plans and solutions. And it sounds like to me that Antonio Moore really don't have any solutions. He knows what the problem is, and I think he's desiring a solution. But the way that he enumerated so many of the what he basically declared as prongs of a problem, the many prongs of a problem, you really don't really get down to a solution. And this is probably one of the reasons why he has to question where you're not bringing. Well, Antonio Young, he more solutions. And I don't think Sandy Darity has any solutions. Even though he has a comprehensive reparation strategy, it's never going to work. The Most High will curse. You know, in the book of Malachi, he said, I will curse your blessings. I have cursed them already. So out the door, all of our blessings are cursed. You know why? Back to him, to white Jesus and economic empowerment and hotep hustlers and economists and all think tanks and all this kind of stuff. And you know, that stuff ain't never helped us. But I want to show you this scripture here. I think it's chapter 2, verse 11. Oh, okay, excuse me. You're right. It's Malachi chapter 2, verse 2. If you will not hear, and if you will not lay it to heart, look what he says, y'all. To give glory unto my name. See, most black people are still worshiping all these fake gods. We're not worshiping the God that made heaven and earth, God of the Israelites, as his fervent lover. We're not worshiping the Most High like that. So he says this, because we're not here, and if you will not lay it to heart and give glory to my name, Jesus, Yahuwah of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because you do not lay it to heart. So this is a good scripture. It proves that we never can come out of this, no matter how hard we work, how much we pray to white Jesus. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. We're going backwards and not forwards if we don't turn back to the Most High. This is Prophet Raw, and I will be out of here. You all have a wonderful day. I hope that you got something out of this, and I'm going to say shalom to you all. Every day's the same.